Hi, good morning or afternoon. I'm Miss Laura with the Wichita Falls Arts Council. Today we're going to be using handmade stencils to make a pile of repeating shapes that overlap each other. So I have a few examples of the project. Here I made a stencil of a cactus, an X, and a pill or a minus sign, and you can see how they repeat all over the paper. Another example of a houseplant, a snake, and an ice cream cone, cat with some beans, we have some sharks and some apples coexisting in the same pile. The classic combination of dogs, tacos, and clouds. Finally, we have donuts, worms, and lemons. We're going to need a few simple supplies to make this project. We're going to need a plain white sheet of paper. We're going to need either cardstock or an old file folder or any other type of thicker paper to make our stencils. We're going to need some sort of regular pencil, a pair of scissors, and coloring utensils. So I have colored pencils, crayons, markers, or just even regular pencils, all of that will work. I'm going to use colored pencils because they are right next to me and I have them on hand. So we're going to start by just taking our pencil and our cardstock or old manila folder, and we're going to draw some simple shapes that we are then going to cut out with our scissors and then use for stencils. So I recommend you make at least 2 different shapes. Again, they can be animals, they can be letters, plants, they can be abstract blobs. The choice is totally up to you. We just need 2, or at least 2 different shapes, 3 if you want to challenge yourself. So I already started by drawing a little heart here. That's going to be my first shape. I think I'm going to draw the letter H, do a little bubble letter, and then some sort of animal. And I recommend that you make your shapes about the size of your index finger. We don't want anything too giant or too tiny. Okay, there's an H. Then we'll do a hamster. I'll draw a hamster. Get a little head there. That's sort of a hamster shape. Okay. I'll just draw the legs on them later. Okay. So I have my 3 shapes. I am going to go ahead and cut them out with my scissors and then get ready to trace them. Okay, so I have my general hamster shape. I have heart and H cut out and ready to go. Okay, and once you've cut out your shapes, we're ready for the next step. I'm going to zoom out and pull out my white sheet of paper. My shapes at the ready and my pencil. I'm going to zoom in again in just a second. So I'm going to start by just picking one of my shapes. It doesn't matter which one you start with. So I'm just going to start with this heart here, and I'm going to place it somewhere on my paper. Location doesn't really matter, but I recommend starting somewhere near the middle. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, with one hand, I'm going to hold my cut stencil down on my paper, and with the other hand, I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to trace around my stencil carefully, all the way around, until I have a heart. Once I've traced my first shape, I'm going to immediately fill it in with a color. Again, this can be marker or crayon or colored pencil like I'm using, and I'm just going to immediately fill in my shape as soon as I trace it. Okay, first shape has been filled in. At this point, I'm going to grab another stencil. So either my hamster or this H. I'm going to grab the H. The order doesn't really matter. And I'm going to place my next stencil on top of my first shape, my heart. Not directly on top, but somewhere to the side, but just so a little bit of it overlaps my heart. So I just have a little piece of this H on top of this heart. I want it to overlap just a little bit to get the effect that these are sort of piled on top of each other. And now I'm going to trace this H. But I'm going to be very careful not to trace the H over the heart. So again, I'm going to hold my stencil down with one hand, and I have my pencil on the other, and I'm tracing right at the edge of this heart. That's where I'm starting, and I'm tracing around the H all the way around. Shift my hand, get the whole thing traced. Last little leg. And I'm going to stop as soon as I get to this heart. Again, I do not want to trace over my heart. I want to only trace the H where the heart is not. So when I pull my stencil away, we have an H that's sitting underneath a heart. And then I'm going to fill in my H. Okay, so every time I trace a shape, I'm going to fill it in right after I trace it. call that good enough. Adorable little hamster here still needs to be traced. Okay. So same thing, I'm going to grab my hamster shape, this guy right here, and I'm going to place him just so he overlaps one of my shapes just a little bit. And I'm going to trace him with my pencil by holding down my hamster and taking my pencil and tracing all the way around, making sure not to trace over any of these filled-in shapes. Just little ears, little tail. So now I have a general hamster shape. I'm going to draw some features on him to make him look more like a hamster. I'll give him some legs. Arm. Eyeball, little nose. Mouth. Okay, that's cute. And then I'm going to fill in my hamster. I'm just going to make him green. And make him smile, so he's happy to be here. Another H word. Cute. Okay. Then I'm going to make some more hearts, make some more H's, and I'm gonna do at least 2 to 3 of each of these shapes, and more if I want to fill out my entire paper. And then I am tracing only on the white paper, and I'm not going to trace over any of the shapes that I've colored in. So there's white paper over here, so I'm going to trace right here. I'm going to jump over my hamster and continue tracing my heart where the white paper is. And then I'm going to continue until I hit this H. And I do not want to trace over my H either. Now I have a heart sitting behind a hamster and an H. And it'll be a purple heart. Maybe I'll just do an outline of this one. I don't want to fill in the whole heart. gonna put the H sideways, it looks like an eye. It's like I heart hamsters, I guess. Okay. I am going to put some of these shapes up in case you want to leave them on the screen and copy shapes. You get the general idea at this point. So I can just continue to trace and fill in shapes until I get to the edge of my paper, or I at least have maybe 2 to 3 of each of these shapes. So I'm going to put all of my stencils that I've been doing on the screen, so in case you want to pause and copy some of the shapes that I've done. Lemons. Taco, the donut. And here I just cut through the donut so I could cut out the center. Got a cactus, cloud, general apple shape, a bean, cat, an X or a plus sign, a shark, ice cream cone, house plant, right at the top there, a little heart, fish in here somewhere. Oh, here's a fish. And the chicken. Okay, thank you so much for joining me.